Hello, everybody. Welcome to the CT Sports Talent Show. My name is Chris Saunders, and I'm pleased to have on with me for the second year head coach for the pomperaug boys basketball program. Shawn Mobilio is with me. Coach, I appreciate you coming on.
Chris, thank you, man. Appreciate what you do. It's nice to be on and let's talk some basketball. This is cool.
First time having you on the pod. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully, I'll have you on over the course of,
I bet.
the season to come. And, you have the opportunity to kind of, more so the coaches this summer, kind of get to be the guinea pigs as far as being able to test out
Yeah.
the out of season training, as the CIEC is calling it, allowing coaches to be able to coach the kids of their particular sport for 4 hours per week, two sessions, or they can kind of vary, change it as long as it's 4 hours.
Yep.
How has that been going so far as we're about July 12th here in the
Well, yeah.
summer?
Yeah, it's going pretty good. We're out there. We do a little bit. I'm big on family, summertime. Some kids play different sports. I'm
Hmm.
all for that. I was a three-sport athlete in high school, so I get it. I don't tell anybody it's not mandatory. If they can get in the gym, it's great. We get in, we play, we go over the skill work. It's nice to get your team, but I
Hmm.
think we have a lot of returning players. We only lost two seniors, Antonio Demora and Jackson Seislov. And we have basically our starting five minus one. So our
Hmm.
guys know the routine, they know what they need to do. And then I'm kind of taking it easy till preseason. I'm not gonna go too crazy, but we get in the gym, we drill, we get
Hmm.
in the weight room, we do what we have to do, and then once preseason comes, it's time to go.
Now, I know when you took over the job, Coach Yak, as I like to call him, was with the program for many, many years, had a lot of success. It was a little bit of a struggle late, had some problems being able to get some wins on the board. But when you took over, the program did a lot of firsts, right? Being able to win a playoff game, being able to qualify for the SWC tournament, which is the conference that you're in, and you were able to win a playoff game. I think I mentioned that before. So being able to accomplish all that and also being able to get some good wins. I kind of think of a coach first year, you kind of have a board, right? And you put
Yep.
down, okay, can we do this? Can we do that? Can we do this? And I feel like for your board, now I'm sure title was on there too in some sorts.
Yep.
That's, for year two and beyond. Do you feel like you guys were able to accomplish what at least you wanted to, or were you surprised by what happened?
No, I always believed in the boys. I've watched them. I had the opportunity to watch them the last couple of years, which was nice. And the one thing I said walking in was, you know, if we work hard and we compete, we do the right things, I think
Hmm.
we can be successful. And I told my staff that as well. You know, none of this would be possible this year without our staff. My staff was amazing. The administration was amazing. Dr. Jones, our principal, Ron Plaske, our athletic director, the
Hmm.
town, the community, the hiring committee, everybody on staff, everyone was so supportive.
Hmm.
We had great numbers at games. So I think just having the support in the town, and then obviously, working them the way we want them to work them, just understanding that this is not just basketball. This is,
Hmm.
we're changing a culture. We're changing. I walked in there and we changed the whole culture. And it could have been something very small, like, it's funny, we get in the locker room and they put their stuff down and they don't put anything in the locker. So I call them back into the locker room and say, guys, there's lockers here. Everything has to be in the lockers, have to be neat. And so every day, the next day where they come in, maybe there'd be one or two, we'd run until we had to correct. And then they kind of nipped that. And then it came to a point where like, if we don't have discipline, we have nothing. So I think that's what came. They understood that. And
Hmm.
then they just worked really hard. We had really good leaders. Our captains were awesome. Antonio Demora, who led us, Jake and Connor Burns, who the two guards, they're returning seniors. So we had a really good team, and we had Music Phelps who helped out, Ian Henry, Jack Omelinsky, all those guys were big, and they're going to be huge this year. So we're excited.
One thing I noticed, because I had the opportunity, and I'm hopeful to be able to do this again, do a Pomperog. We did a girls' game last year for Coach Fortier, and then we also did football as well. Hopefully, we can get boys basketball in there and
Great.
maybe make it all three. But the
Awesome.
point that I'm trying to make is that I noticed how much Pomperog as the high school, both inside the gymnasium and outside, there has been upgrades. There's been a lot of things done. Now I know the turf has been there for many years, going back to when I scrimmaged them for soccer way back when I was at Sacred Heart. But the facilities seem like they've gotten a lot more improved. When I went into the gym, first thing I said to Ron was, "Wow, the banners are new. Everything's new," and he just started laughing. But I can just see like that kind of stuff may seem as somebody on the outside like, okay, banners new, whoop-de-doo.
Yep.
Locker room is, like you said, new or whatever.
Yep.
Whoop-de-doo. But I think you kind of have to be in sports, or you have to know that that kind of stuff means a lot. And it's the
Matters.
facilities. And I mean, you could speak to it. So why don't you do that?
Yeah. So we just got a new pool, just did a renovation, big pool. So the pool's going to be all new. Hasn't been done since forever.
Mhm.
Tennis court. They just did a new tennis court, so that's huge. New scoreboard for the boys basketball. New chairs. Those things. Do you think they don't matter? But a new chair matters. It says pomperaug on it, the logo. We have little things like that. So the school just keeps upgrading. We do as the boys basketball. We put up things on the wall and the shelves, and we put up different things. It's not just quotes, but we actually have a contract that they have to sign that says, "Hey, we're gonna, not argue with referees, and we're gonna help your teammates, and we're gonna cheer for our teammates. We're gonna be good teammates, good attitude, behavior. Those are things that we talk about every day because eventually basketball is over, Chris. We know that, and
Mhm.
they have to be good people, and then they have to go out in the real world, get a job, and then be successful. So that's the goal for us is to graduate, be
Mhm.
successful, and do whatever they're going to do in life. They're going to be successful at it coming through our program.
Now you mentioned the refs aspect. I kind of want to add, this is kind of like a funny thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my broadcast partners were our former Watertown head coach and the assistant coach, Billy Unwin and JP Vance Jr.
Yep.
And they would tell stories how when they were coaching at Watertown and even when they were at Chase, that they would always tell the players, obviously, respect the referees and such. But they said before the game even starts, always shake their hand and introduce yourself and always get their first name.
Yep.
So that way you can kind of build that relationship. And because the
Absolutely.
officials, I feel like when you
Yeah.
show respect, even if they disagree with you, they'll have a conversation. And sometimes, as you've seen it, and I see it during
Yeah.
games,
Yeah.
it can get a little bit out of hand. And it's embarrassing for the program, it's
Yeah.
embarrassing for the
Yeah.
players, I'm
Yeah.
sure for the family. So is that something that you may maybe try to add on to the contract?
Yeah, we have that automatically. So our guys know if you talk back to a ref or you have, bad attitude, bad body language, hand gestures to a ref or anything like that, you sit automatically. So my guys already know you're sitting down. I didn't get a T this year, so why are my guys getting T's? So that's important to me. Like if you
Mhm.
talk to the ref, if there's an issue, come see me. I talk to a ref. I know most refs in Connecticut. I played for most of them too. So we
Mhm.
have a relationship where if you just talk to a ref, things are going to get hot and heavy during a game. But if you just talk to them and not disrespect them, they're not going to tee you up. You know what I mean? If you just talk to them. So we put up in premium on that in our program. Hey, man, we don't talk to refs like that. If you do, you're just not going to play. So I sat guys game halves, whole
Mhm.
games for that reason. So, and what are we teaching them? You know what I mean? We're teaching them to have respect. So,
I could tell you there's certain referees I wouldn't want to argue with. One of them,
yeah,
I think he's retired now, Al Cafora.
yeah.
He
Oh, Al's my guy. So,
I mean,
oh, yeah,
you talk about a guy
yeah,
who's like 8 feet tall. His hands are twice the size of a baseball mitt.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, don't argue with him because he'll probably, and he's in good
Yeah.
shape. He's
He played at
fit, yeah.
Quinnipiac. 1,000 point scorer at Quinnipiac.
Yeah. I mean,
So
that's legit. Not everybody can do that.
Al's a good guy. Al's a good friend.
No, he's a very good guy. So I want to talk, I kind of want to talk about, with the season. I know it's still months away, and I don't even
Yep.
want to mention
Yep.
the W word because I don't want to mention the S word after, right? And that's because the S word is what I think of that other S word.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, the SWC conference, I'm familiar with it a little bit as far as I know the teams because of the broadcasting.
Yep.
But the style of play, I'm not that familiar with. So my neck of the woods in the NVL, it's a
Yep.
lot of athletes, it's a lot of run and gun, it's a lot of threes.
Yep.
Defense, sometimes I need a microscope, I need a microscope to kind of find
Yep.
sometimes. What's the SWC like as far as a conference?
So conference wise, it's kind of the same as the NBL. Like our top teams are Colby, Notre Dame, and they play the style of Crosby. Crosby that 2-3 zone they do. That type of stuff. A lot of it's man to man, but they're very up pace. They're quick, they're athletic. And most teams, we play that style too. We go up and down the court, we run up
Mhm.
and down. And there's some teams that just sit back, play a man or zone, whatever it is. But most of the NBL teams, they're in your face, they're attacking you. I played in NBL, you see the NBL all the time. Wilby, Nagy, Crosby, Holy Sacred Heart back in the day. So
Mhm.
like that's kind of the style. There's some teams that play that style, and there's some teams that don't. We play, we play right up full court. We get in you. So
You mentioned about, getting right in the face of the
Yeah,
players, right? I was just talking to Mariano just a few days ago, and he was talking about the same thing, playing man defense,
yeah,
testing the players, but also trusting that, okay, if you're going to fail, it's fine. We're going to stick, but also when to adjust as well. He and I had a great conversation about that. It sounds like, and you and him were captains back in the day in middle
middle
school, and I
school.
mentioned
Yeah,
that to him too.
yeah, yeah.
Um, do you feel like that is something that you do as well as far as obviously man-to-man defense?
Yeah, so I've growing up, I played man to man. When I was at Western Connecticut and Southern Connecticut, we played man to man. And then I worked for Ted Hotelling at University of New Haven, and
Mhm.
he's man to man. So he's, I've learned so much from him. He's, a good friend of mine. We talk all the time, and it's accountability. You're learning, how to play defense. It's hard, learning how to get away from screens, set screens, whether you're going over. There's so much X and O's to it, which you'd have to break down in practice, but I think it's more accountability, like, we said, but I just think it's the way to teach the kids now. And even the youth, I coach the youth. We don't do zone at all. I think zone is good for high school when it's needed. There was
Mhm.
times I'd probably say maybe 4 games all year out of all of our games that we use zone. We were
Mhm.
man most of the game. So I think that's, obviously every coach is different. And then high school has changed. There's a lot of zone defense. And,
Yeah.
they do it to kind of see if you could, handle it. But, we're pretty well coached and we'll take anything on. So we're not worried about what defense we see. We just have to
Mhm.
be prepared and work through it. But we're man to man, like I said, and then we get up in you. So we're gonna play.
Have you noticed this through your travels in Connecticut or just in general,
Yeah.
beyond just the high school aspect, where, myself and my other broadcast partner, Dave Grant, I know you know him
Yep.
pretty well too. He and I have had discussions about while the game of basketball has improved as far as the overall talent, as far as the shooting aspect, and there's other things that kind of like baseball, right? Baseball has improved with the velocity and the home runs, but then the strikeouts and not being able to have the baseball IQ sometimes is kind of you kind of question it.
Yep.
So for basketball to kind of land it here is that the one thing I've noticed is with certain and more so just a lot of high school kids, when you throw out them multiple defenses, like we talked about man to man, we talk about 3-2 zone, 2-3 zone, trap, whatever, right? Four corners. It
Yep.
seems like the kids are not able to, and it's not like they don't know.
Yep.
So I hope they know what defenses they're seeing,
Yeah.
but they're
Yeah.
not able to make the plays and can
Yeah.
kind of think one step ahead and kind of do, right off, okay, 2-3 zone, I'm going to do this. Man to man, I'm going to do that. Why is that? And I'm not trying to disrespect the coaches, but
Yeah. Yeah,
the
absolutely.
kids got to get some blame on this as well. Why
Yep.
is that?
I like you said, we're not going to down any coaches, and it's how
Yeah.
their style of coaching. But I think the most important thing is if you're a coach, seek help if you don't know. I talk to a lot of college coaches. I sit down a lot of college practices. I go to a lot of, seminars. If you don't know, seek it. And we don't know everything. That's the beauty of the game. We're always learning. So I,
Mhm.
I I get my guys prepared for everything. So if we see a team that's denying the ball, I put two of my coaches on the guy. So he has two guys on him instead of one. So he's seeing it's going to be a lot harder, obviously challenging them. And
Mhm.
then, I think just preparing them for
Mhm.
anything. That's kind of what we do at pomperaug. So we prepare them for everything. And you know what? If you're not prepared, you will be exposed, especially in these type of leagues like the NBL, SWC. You will be exposed quick, and then the scoreboard will run up, as you saw, Chris, many times.
And they will continuously throw like it doesn't. And all the coaches that I've known throughout the times I've been broadcasting in the state, they're all great coaches, but they smell blood in the water.
Yeah.
They're not going to stop. In
No.
terms of Crosby, we know one thing: they'll play the
Yeah.
zone, but they'll also trap you. And
I played
yeah,
the 16 with Damian Saunders, Julian
yes.
Allen, those guys. Those guys did not stop. They didn't stop.
Oh, Jelly will just keep that hand going, and he's
Keep
just
it
like,
running. Keep it
thing.
running. Keep it running. I'm like, all right, let's go.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things where if the coach knows that something is the
Yeah.
weakness of the other team and they're seeing it working in their
Yeah.
favor, they
Yeah.
will keep that up.
Use it to
Um,
advantage. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I want to hit on the shot clock thing for a second
Yep.
because I know last year was the first year in the state to be able to have that. I thought it went very well. I didn't
Yep.
personally. I think I heard the shot clock go off twice the entire year. So Was it an easy transition for your squad?
Yeah, so our guys never did it. Obviously, it's new to the year, but as a college coach, you're around it every day, all day. So you kind of use drills to use the shot clock. So we would put 20 seconds on the clock.
Yeah.
So our guys would run our offensive sets, and then when the clock goes off, it's 20 seconds. So 30 is like nothing, 35 is not. It just keeps running. So if you just kind of prepare for that, you're okay. If you don't prepare for it and you don't know how to use a shot clock,
Mhm.
that could bother you too, and it definitely affects the game, and it affects your team, and it's a mental thing. They're thinking the whole
Mhm.
time, oh man, shot clock, shot clock, shot clock, clock. So you got to be, like I said, you just have to prepare your team the right way.
When your season came to an end against Bristol Eastern, am I correct?
That's tough.
So when that came to an end, I know it was a tough game, but
Tough,
hey, like
tough.
I said, I tweeted out after the season was over for
Yeah,
you,
I
the amount of
appreciate
accomplishments, it's impressive.
it.
Um, how much of an itch did you have as far as like I want tomorrow to already be the following season because you just want to get back
Yeah.
in?
At first, the locker room, it's a tough setting. You don't think, like we only had two seniors, so they're emotional. Antonio Demora was our leading scorer. He was our heart and soul of the team. The guys, they loved him. They know what he did for the team. He put
Mhm.
the team first. He was that type of leader. But
Mhm.
just look at all the emotions of all the kids. You see tears. You feel it. So I sit there. I talk to them. It's very hard. I'm emotional as well. But
Mhm.
those are the things that you cherish. And now we could use that for next year with these guys, our returning guys. And now I told them the same thing too. You're going to be a senior now. You're going to know what that feels like when your last game comes to an end. So it's a good thing. It
Mhm.
hurts at the time, but you have to take it on the chin and understand that we make it to the Sweet 16. Now we go for the Elite Eight. We go for the Final Four. We continue to keep going, and
Mhm.
we're excited to get on the floor. Our guys are excited, and they know what's at stake. And
Mhm.
yeah, we can't wait.
What was your biggest takeaway? Because I saw you at Mohegan, and we had the
Yeah,
opportunity to be able to talk a little bit
yeah,
before the game started. I think I saw you. It may have been Saturday. I could be wrong. It was
yeah.
one of the days.
Yeah.
But either
Here's West
way,
Virginia. Yeah.
what were some of your own takeaways? Because I know you love watching basketball. You saw a lot of great teams. Um, what was some of your biggest takeaways from Mohegan Sun during that weekend? What was it?
Yeah, first the CIAC does a great job. The venue is awesome. And Ron had me walk around. We went downstairs, saw what they had. He introduced me to all the guys, and it's nice
Mhm.
to see. But just the fans being there, teams there. My mindset is I want to be here. What I mean, that's my mindset. And I would take pictures, send them to my guys. My group, we have a group chat that we do, so I text them the picture of the court. Hey, man, this is where we're going to be next year, and envision it and see it. But it was
Mhm.
nice to see the emotions of the players who did win, and Benell's in our conference, so we saw some teams that won Notre Dame, these
Yep.
teams that won our
Yep.
conference, which was cool to see. And then I watched a Division Four. They were great. Those teams were really, really good teams. And it hurts not to be there, but it's nice to see. It's nice to be around, and then share with the players, and nice to see you and guys like it's nice to see all the coaches that were out there. I saw the Staples coach, a couple coaches that were out there, so it's
Mhm.
good to connect with other guys too. And that's the vision, man. We have a picture of the casino Mohegan Sun on the wall in our locker room, and
Mhm.
that's the goal. That's where we want to be every year. So you know, it's a dream, right? It's a dream.
I mean, you're in a very good conference that
Yeah.
prepares you for that, right? I mean, over the past 5, 6 years, I mean, Notre Dame Fairfield was the last really kind of team to be, as far as against the NVL, took
Yeah.
down Sacred Heart when they had, Isaiah Gator and Raheem Solomon and that whole squad. Obviously, Coach Full with Kobe. I know a couple years ago, they played a very, very good hand team, and they kind of dug themselves a hole early and just couldn't get themselves out of it. But they're always competitive each and every year. They do a great job.
Yeah.
Obviously, we talked about Massick a little bit. There's some other teams that are kind of rising up. You
Yeah.
guys, I think, are one of those teams that could be rising, and you never know. You just make the conference that much better. Have you thought about that too?
Yeah, what I like about it is people are starting to talk, and that's the good thing. You're hearing, hey, let's look at Pomperaug chipping up, chipping up, chipping up. So and we
Mhm.
had Kobe first round, tough matchup, first round SWC. Full, great coach, does a great job with them. A good
Mhm.
friend of mine too, and down two with a minute left at Kobe, it was like the place was louder than I've ever heard. It was nice atmosphere for our guys. We just couldn't pull it out, and it's just the conference is tough. People don't understand. SWC is a tough conference. NBL is a tough conference. There's
Mhm.
tough conferences out there, and until you're in it, you don't understand. Until you're in it, and then you see the competition, you're like, whoa. A lot of our guys, I think it was Notre Dame. One guy already went to a prep school. Massick, one of the kids went to prep school. So teams, guys from our conference are going to preps because they want to go to a high level college. So
Mhm. How
it's
tough is that, coach? Before I let you go, and I'm glad
yeah,
you mentioned the prep side.
yep, yep,
Obviously college has their own problems right now, being able to keep kids each and every year. It's like free agency. I mean, we're seeing very early. I
yep,
love the NIL stuff. I think it's great that kids have the opportunity to maximize because not everybody makes the pros.
yep.
But as we're seeing, it's the wild, wild west in more ways than one. And I could go on and on and on. I won't even talk about the NCAA stuff. That's for a whole nother episode. But the point is for you, your main problem, I guess, at the high school side is dealing with kids potentially going prep and so on. So, as a coach, how, I guess, dumb question to ask, how difficult is that? But how are you able to kind of, because you have to not just sell your program, but you also have to try to, like, basically keep the kids from going somewhere else.
Yeah. So, I have a lot of connections with prep schools as being an assistant at the college level.
Yep.
So I think if it fits best for the kid, that's what we're looking for. As a coach, it's
Right.
not about your program and saying, "Hey, you need to be with me." I think that's just selfish. I think if you do the right thing, you're saying, "Hey, come talk to coach." I know coach from Canterbury, Coach Fruscio. Hey, come go sit down. I've done it in the past where you go sit with him, talk
Mm,
to him. I had a player who went and talked with him. Maybe it didn't work out. Okay, but at least I brought you there and kind of said, "Hey, this is what's best for the child.
mm,
What's best for the student athlete." That's important. So I don't, we don't like, obviously we can't recruit in high school, but we
mm,
get what we get. But I do recruit. I look at I have them young. I have a program in town that I started, which I have 5 teams right now, and I'm getting them at the fourth grade level, which I could recruit now. Now I could see who I want to be in my program.
mm.
So like Dan Hurley says, hey, you're recruiting players, you're recruiting parents. You are because this is what's coming in. So obviously, at the prep level, if they're good enough to go to a higher level, hey,
Mm.
I would help them get to where they want to be. I think that's what a coach, that's the right thing to do if it's the right set.
Well, I've always believed it as far as the high school side. It's the same thing with the pros, even when they take kids from college, right? You're only as good as your pipeline. As a Seymour guy as yourself, obviously the softball, football, baseball, those pipelines have been good for years.
Yep.
Pomprog has had their own pipelines in other sports. Basketball seems like you just said, from fourth grade, fifth grade, being able to get that up because you're trying to sell the parents, you're selling the families, and
Yep.
if they want to go out somewhere else, that's fine. But if they want to come to Pomperaug, they know that their son and or daughter, if they want to be able to play basketball or play any sport, that they're going to be supported, they're going to be cared for, and
Yep.
so on. And it sounds like you got a good thing going there.
Yeah, we want players to play and be with us, not by holding their hand and saying you need to be. We want them to be there voluntarily and say, "Hey, I want to play for you, coach," because
Yeah.
I think that's how you get more success.
Hmm.
We don't, we do our thing and we really want the kids to be happy. We want them. At the end of the day, you want them to have a good experience in high school too. So
Hmm.
that's winning is great. Everyone wants to win every game, but you want to have a good experience and you want to have fun and you want to make them think about it later on in life and say, "Hey, I had a great year with coach, and this is what I did, and we were successful."
Coach, I appreciate you coming on. This was a lot of fun. Hopefully, we can reconnect sometime before the season.
Definitely, Chris. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for all you do, and keep it up.
Appreciate you. That wrap things up here in the CT Sports Talent Show. So next time, stay safe. Remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent. I'm trying to find them all. Enjoy the shit, everybody, and be well.